The dimly lit corridors of the space station orbited a barren moon, with its thin atmosphere and dusty plains. The station, designated as Tessa 9, was a research outpost, primarily used for studying the planet's potential for habitation. However, it had become something far more crucial to those living aboard, home. And for Seranov, a skilled engineer from the alien planet Xylar, it was where she lived her life in isolation, trying to help a humanity she had grown fond of after many years of peaceful coexistence. Seranov wasn't always like this. Once, she had walked proudly through the streets of Xylar's capital city, her body as whole as any of her species. She had been young, full of ambition and potential, until the accident that had left her stranded on Earth with only half of her natural limbs intact. A catastrophic failure of the transportation system on Xylar caused a malfunction in her pods during a research mission that resulted in the loss of her arms and legs. What remained of her body was an intricate array of prosthetics, the best human technology could offer. Or so it seemed. On this particular day, Seranov felt the familiar tingling in her prosthetic legs. At first, it was small, just a faint prickling sensation as if something was caught in the machinery. But within minutes, it became unbearable, like pins and needles, but far more intense. The interfaces connecting her to her cybernetic limbs were failing, and the pain was escalating. "Not again," she muttered to herself, a mix of dread and frustration in her voice. The prosthetics she had relied on for years were malfunctioning. She had been to the engineers before, and they had worked their best to patch them, but this time it felt different. This time they were not only failing, they were shutting down. In the heart of the station, there was one person who might be able to help. Liam Parker, the station's chief engineer and the only human who had shown any real interest in her plight. He was unassuming, always focused on the task at hand, yet he had an innate understanding of alien technologies and an unspoken understanding of Seranov's situation. Despite the quiet nature of their interactions, he had become her confidant, the one person she trusted. Seranov limped her way through the corridors of Tessa 9, trying to remain composed as her prosthetics threatened to fail completely. The pain was excruciating, her body's physical limitations no match for the artificial limbs. She reached the engineering bay and knocked lightly on the door. "Liam, I need help," she said, her voice almost a whisper. Liam looked up from his console, his face marked with exhaustion. The long hours aboard the station were taking their toll on everyone, but Seranov had become a familiar, albeit delicate, presence in his life. He noticed the pain in her eyes immediately. "Come in, Seranov. What's going on?" His voice was steady, but there was concern in his eyes. Seranov stepped inside, her legs trembling under her. "It's my prosthetics. They're failing. I don't think they can be repaired this time. I don't know how much longer I can keep moving." Liam stood and moved toward her. "Let's see what we're dealing with." Middle. Liam led Seranov to a workstation where he had an assortment of tools. His hands worked quickly as he examined the cybernetic systems. "The connections between your neural implants and the prosthetics are fried. It's not just a software issue. This is more advanced than anything I've seen before." Seranov bit her lip, trying to suppress the fear building within her. Her body had been reliant on her prosthetics for years. Without them, she would be no better than a prisoner in her own body. "I can't even feel my feet," she confessed, voice trembling. "The pain is unbearable. I don't know if I'll make it out of here alive without the proper functioning limbs." Liam placed a comforting hand on her shoulder, though he knew that the situation was far beyond simple repairs. "We'll find a way, Seranov. Don't worry." He knew that his own knowledge, while extensive, might not be enough. He needed to dig deeper into the alien technology that Seranov's prosthetics were based on. Liam had been studying Xylorian technology for years, but the intricacies of their cybernetic systems were something he had only brushed against. This was beyond ordinary engineering. It was a complex fusion of biology and machine, and repairing it would take far more than just fixing wires and circuits. Liam decided to try something radical. If he could sync her prosthetics with a backup system designed for human limbs, he might be able to stabilize them long enough for Seranov to survive. It was a risk, but it was the only option. As he began the process of rerouting the prosthetic systems, Seranov watched him closely. She had never seen him so focused before. His brow furrowed in concentration. He worked meticulously, his hands steady despite the intense pressure building in the room. Suddenly, the main system let out a sharp beep, followed by the grinding sound of malfunctioning components trying to reset. Seranov gasped as her legs buckled beneath her, and she collapsed onto the nearby table. Liam didn't waste a second. He rushed to her side, checking her vitals and speaking to her in soothing tones. "It's okay. You're going to be fine." Despite his words, Seranov could see the concern in his eyes. He didn't know if it was going to work. He was testing something uncharted, a fusion of human and alien technologies that could either save her or break her even more. "Liam, if it doesn't work, I won't be able to survive. You don't know what it's like to be this dependent on machines," Seranov whispered, her voice raw with emotion. Liam clenched his jaw. "I know more than you think. We're both survivors, Seranov. You've made it this far. Believe in you. And I won't let you go down without a fight." Hours passed as Liam continued working, integrating human technology into the delicate alien systems. The tension in the room was palpable. With every adjustment, Seranov's pain would spike, only for a moment of relief to follow. The uncertainty of the process weighed heavily on both of them. Just when it seemed that all was lost, the diagnostic panel lit up with green. The prosthetics had rebooted successfully, but it wasn't just a temporary fix. The fusion of the human and Xylorian tech had stabilized her limbs. Seranov moved her fingers first, testing the response. Her hands flexed without pain, her legs followed suit. She slowly stood, unsure at first, but the relief was overwhelming. Her prosthetics were functioning again, stronger than they ever had been before. Liam watched her, a quiet smile tugging at his lips. "I told you I'd find a way." Tears welled up in Seranov's eyes as she took a few tentative steps toward him. "Thank you," she said softly, her voice filled with gratitude. "You've given me back my life." Liam gave her a small nod, his gaze soft. "We're in this together." Seranov could finally feel the weight lift from her shoulders. The endless ache that had threatened to drag her down was gone. She was more than just a survivor. She had found an ally, someone who would never give up on her, someone who would always fight for her. She turned away from him, moving toward the window of the engineering bay. The stars shone brightly in the distance, silent witnesses to the quiet strength between two beings, one human, one alien, united by a bond that could withstand anything.